Hi, my name is Noni Matikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about the witness that should not exist in the Senzo Meyiwa case because nje indaba yakhe ayikho. Sizombuza ukuthi ubhuti indaba yakhe ayikho. Ubhuti indaba yakhe ayikho, which is Constable Zungu. Now you know. Constable Zungu simbiza ubhuti indaba yakhe ayikho because nje yena Now, before we do that, guys, please be so kind. Like, my likes, ne? Bukela, and you also like, you share, you comment, you subscribe, and you ensure that everybody watches the channel. Okay? Thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Please do that. Okay? I thank you. Now, what if I told you the man the state says cracked the case didn't even exist in the case when it mattered the most. He didn't even exist when it mattered the most. That was back in 2014, of course. Not in the original timeline, not in the early investigations, not when the case was falling apart, but suddenly he becomes central. He appears, he becomes central. And now the entire case depends on him. This is not just a witness. This is a timeline problem. This is a procedure problem. This is a credibility crisis. And today we ask one question. Is this a real witness or a constructed solution? That's what we see. Number one of these issues. Let's talk about the collapsing timeline of this situation. Let's deal with the exclusive contradiction of it all. The state, through Bongani Gininda, tells the court, this is the man who helped crack the case. But here is the problem, though. His statement comes after the case is already in motion. After the case is already in motion. Why is this dangerous? In any criminal investigation, the key witness comes first. That's law 101. Courtroom processes 101. Okay? Police don't investigations 101. Okay? Now, the case is built from that witness. If he's crucial, the case is built from that witness that is crucial. Okay? If he's the case cracker, everything's supposed to start with him, not the other way around. Not million witnesses, then him. It can't be like that. Not the other way around. Okay. So now the question is, or the question becomes, how do you crack a case using a witness who only appears years later? Jani, why do we have an arrest of Zamokuhle Mbata? Yet there was Constable Zungu, Mr. Ndabayake Aiko. How? Make that make sense? Let me tell you how. That's not investigation. That starts looking like reconstruction. Point number two. Do you remember that Judge Rata refused to discharge, the court refused to discharge under Section 174? Why? I cannot ignore Zungu's evidence. Excuse you, sir. What? And then he comes back and be like, oh, I misdirected myself. Hello, what you mean? But here's the legal bomb, Kesan. Section 174 is not about any evidence. It's about reliable evidence that can sustain a conviction. So if the witness is late, uncorroborated, procedurally questionable, then the entire refusal becomes legally fragile. And this opens doors for appeal, review, collapse later. But okay, we are where we are. He refused that 174 from Apisa Urata, Sharpu. Now, after the refusal, do you know what we got? Ugwabini, Umakosonke, Ubabu Zungu. And they all rubbished Undaba Aiko, Constable Zungu. They all rubbished him. They mopped the floor with him. And now, what is Judge Rota going to do about it? because there is something that he must do. From not being corroborated, undaba ayikho Zungu, to being rubbished and the floor mopped with him. He became the mob now. Point number 3, he is the constable that did too much, most right? Undaba ayikho. Now let's talk about something that doesn't sit right. A constable driving around, handling a firearm, conducting follow-ups, acting like a lead investigator. We had all of these things. There are witnesses in the box. And these witnesses are the same witnesses that he claims he was with for 2014. They spoke against him. Now, that's not standard SEPS structure, most right? Everything that he was doing. A constable is entry level, not assigned high level investigative autonomy. So now we ask, who authorized him? Where is the paperwork? Under which unit was he operating? If these answers don't exist, his entire role becomes irregular, and irregular is equal to weak evidence, weak chain of custody, weak credibility. And also, if someone comes formally, legally in that courtroom and say, actually, this is what happened. I gave him the car, I gave him the firearm, I did this and this because he said ABCD, that will make sense, but we will wait. Perhaps someone will come, we don't know, but time will tell. Okay? Now, point number 4, the gun that was smelled by him. Let's talk about that firearm. This part is shocking. He says he smelled the gun to check if it was used. Excuse me, police officer, why would you sit around and hang around people that use them guns illegally? That's what he insinuated, that these guys actually do use guns illegally. So why would you, as a cop, unless you are undercover? He did not claim he was undercover. So why would he go to their place with his so-called work gun? Make it make sense. Now, if he's gonna say I smelled the gun to check if it was not used, that is not forensic science, most. Real procedure is ballistic, lab testing, residue analysis. But here is the deeper problem when it comes to this. It was supposed to be something, that happened in 2014. And if he suspected something in 2014, why did nothing happen then? Why he did nothing then? This creates delayed action, selective memory, retroactive justification. That's not investigation. That looks like a story catching up to a theory. That is what it looks like. Hence, we are saying he was never supposed to exist as a witness. Never. But here we are. He is existing. And it does not even make sense. Point number 5. Then, we have a chaos of Section 204 witness. Then comes the accomplice witness under Section 204. The expectation, they must confirm the state's version. They must align. But what happens here? They don't support the timeline. They don't confirm Zungu. They shift events years forward. Zungu is standing alone. Meaning, the state's own witnesses are contradicting the foundation of the case. And once that happens, the case stops being strong. It becomes internally unstable. And there is absolutely nothing that Uzungu can do. Undaba yakhe, undaba ayikho, undaba ayikho, undaba yakhe ayikho. There is nothing that he can do. Idumile itimela sahamba. Koloyile idumile yahamba. They're like, I don't know you, sir. You are a lie, a cheat. They're like, you are a liar. You are a cheating bastard. You don't dare involve us in that shit. Those are his family members. I'm telling him where to fuck off. Now, forget everything else, Kesan. Forget everything else. This is the only question that matters. Was this a witness? Was this witness part of the investigation? Because that's how uMakhosonke understood it, and his father. That's how they understood him to be. Or was he introduced to save the case? Because if it's the second, then the case is not built on evidence. It's built on repair work. And the courts don't convict on repair work. They convict on reliable, consistent, procedural, sound evidence. And right now, everything looks cockeye. What are your thoughts when it comes to that? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. Do enjoy your day. Bye-bye.